grow to be a millionaire in all 6 aspects of health. That's right, every Wednesday we share tips to improve your physical, mental, intellectual, social, spiritual, and obviously your financial health. Today we are actually focusing on how to improve your financial health with entrepreneurship. This is probably my favorite topic of all time. If you have never seen Millionaires Are Made, this is a show built on the fundamental belief that every person you meet knows something you don't, and there's something to be learned from everyone in this big, beautiful world. Here at Millionaires Are Made, we are on a mission to teach the world how to grow into the healthiest, happiest millionaires in all 6 aspects of life. So we went out and got 3 awesome guests to give 3 awesome tips on how to improve your financial health with entrepreneurship. In the spirit of authenticity, we don't talk about tips or advice before the show starts. So what our guests are about to tell you, it's going to be our first time hearing it as well. Audience, viewers, if you are watching this is an interactive show. Please feel free to comment and ask questions in the chats. We will answer them all live on air. And real quick, we're going to do an audience shout out, follower shout out. We love doing this to take care of some of our followers. That'll actually come second. If you want to be a guest on our show, we'd love to have you. Our goal is to get everyone in the world to be on the show. So we've got a lot of work to do, and that includes you. We know you have something that you want to share with the world, and we would love to have you. We're dropping that link right now. Another thing we've got is topic ideas. We have so many topics that we need to go over, and we'd love to hear what you want to hear. So shoot us a topic idea. That link's being dropped, and we will go out and find 3 guests to give 3 tips on how to do it. If you like what we do, getting people together, sharing and growing, please don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, send stars, whatever it is, however you're watching this. Definitely could use that. And I have a couple announcements. First off, it's already almost the end of the year. Next year, we are launching our next rendition of the show called Billionaires Are Made. We are now looking for guests for that show. All of our guests there have to be approved and have a high enough rating from Millionaires Are Made to be invited there. So invites will be going out soon. We are also looking for guest hosts for this show. So if you've never had a podcast or you're curious how it's like, you can come check out this show, be a host on it, and see how you like it. What else do I got going on? Merchandise like this awesome shirt. We would love for you to have one. We're dropping the link to grab yours right now. We also will be dropping another link for free growth sessions. I love to help talk one-on-one and hang out. I spend all day, every day just learning, so I'd like to share that with you. That link is being dropped right now as well. And we've got one last thing to do. A couple of sponsors brought to us. First, we've got Sarah Joy sponsoring this episode. Sarah used to be buried in debt and a failing marriage and ended up wiping all of her knowledge and thoughts and found a better way to handle money and now helps others do the same. As a financial coach, she guides couples, individuals, and small businesses to build fun, healthy money habits. Check her out, keeping up with the JonesesFC.com. Next, we have Biz by Right. What an awesome company this is. It's like the Tinder of buying and selling businesses. It's a great matchmaking services that finds cash flowing deals, vets them with AI wizardry, and connects buyers and sellers faster than you can say due diligence. Our next sponsor is Brian Parana, who founded the Call to Rise. It's the ultimate 100-day fat loss challenge for men 40 plus. Drop 20 to 30 pounds, skyrocket your energy, and transform your body with nutrition and strength training personalized for you. And our final sponsor for this episode is Brian Wright. If you want to get your brand in front of high-level entrepreneurs, he publishes a magazine called the Ultimate Achievers Magazine. Go check him out now. And real quick, we want to shout out some of our followers on Facebook. Robin Wolf, you're awesome. Thank you so much. Instagram, Matt and Dina. TikTok, Keep It Blunt, and YouTube, Let's Talk Ideas. Thank you all for following us, and hopefully we'll shout you out once you click that like button. And that finally brings us to our first guest, who is named Samir. Samir, tell us, who are you?
Hey, Austin, long time no see, man. I am Samir. I am still a health coach, and I help people reverse chronic disease. That is my passion, my calling in life.
Health coach. Yeah, you do a lot. I've seen a lot of your stuff lately too. So good job on increasing your social media. Been learning a lot there. Samir, I've got an important question for you. If I wanted to improve my financial health with entrepreneurship, what simple piece of advice would you give me?
Yeah, it's a good one. I mean, I'm tempted to be a little bit self-serving and say invest in your health, but let me be a little bit more less specific and say actually the mistake that people make is they start making a bit of money and I don't know what they do. They invested in the stock market or something. The stock market, if you're really lucky, maybe you get 10% returns. But if you invest it in yourself, if you invest whatever you're making in yourself, you can level up 100, 200, 1,000%. Like it's not actually that hard, right? So what I would say is the mistake that people are making is not investing in themselves. So my one piece of advice is invest in yourself. Trust yourself, level up your skills. There's always room for growth. And if you invest in yourself, you're going to be it's going to pay dividends beyond what you could get through investing in other things.
And that's huge. And that is a very true statement. Investing, self help, learning how to do things like social media marketing or sales or any other marketing and entrepreneurship, you're going to have to learn all that at some point, or you're going to have to pay someone to do it, which could cost you much more than that 10% return. Samir, where on your life journey did you learn this information?
Yeah, listen, I'm not going to lie, man. I'm an expert in a lot of things. I'm a researcher. I'm a health coach. I know probably more about some aspects of human health than almost anyone on the planet. But when it comes to businesses and entrepreneurship, I'm very much a learner. And so I think this year, 2025, what I did was I said, look, my business is it's where it's at. It's growing at a very small rate. Let me take some time. Let me invest in myself. Let me do some courses. Let me identify my weaknesses, which were around marketing and sort of the business side of things as opposed to the coaching side of things. And let me just, learn how to do those things. And before I had outsourced that stuff, and to be honest, I was wasting a lot of money because those people I was outsourcing that stuff to, they didn't know my business as well as I do. So now, to give something really specific, now I use Facebook ads to generate, thousands of dollars of revenue a month. I didn't really know how to do that a year ago. So investing in myself, taking the time to learn something that sounds kind of stupid and not that important, but it's everything really. That's where I am in my journey right now. So I won't pretend I figured it out, and I'm going to continue doing this. But I've learned a lot in the past year.
That's awesome. All right. Well, Samir, we will bring you back out for the round robin. Next up, we're going to move to our next guest, Bonnie. Thank you, Samir. Bonnie, question for you. Who are you?
Hi, Austin. Happy Wednesday. I am Bonnie from Central Florida. I am a award nominated life enhancement coach with the emphasis on mental health, mindset, and motivation.
Mental health, mindset, motivation. Awesome. All right. Bonnie, let me ask you this. If I wanted to improve my financial health with entrepreneurship, what tiny piece of advice would you give me?
My piece of advice for finances is you need to know your numbers. You need to know what's going out for your business, all your different expenses, and just regular expenses. Any monthly subscription you have, you need to go through those on a regular basis. Make sure you're getting the proper return on investment for that. And if it's something that is not helping you to get a good return on investment, get rid of it and just pare everything down and have just the essentials until you get in a situation where you have more money to help you. You have to spend money to make money, but you need to spend the money on the proper things.
Nice, nice. Where on your life journey did you learn that advice?
I've been learning it for quite a while, and sometimes you just have to not have a lot of money to be able to figure out how to make more money, and you need to make sure your expenses are the correct ones. So it's a lifelong journey, but I've been learning that for the last few years.
Awesome. All right, Bonnie, we're going to move on to our next guest here. Next up, we have Wade. Wade, tell us, who are you?
I'm Wade Simmons. I'm from Chicago, Illinois. I am a professional filmmaker. funeral service worker, and I also did pro wrestling trainer. I'm licensed in the state of Illinois in mortuary science as an intern, and I'm also certified in California as a funeral arranger. So that's me.
All right. Well, I got a question for you.
Sure.
If I wanted to improve my financial health with entrepreneurship, what tiny piece of advice would you give me?
Find a need that you actually care about and meet it. I think it's so important for people to love what they do. And to piggyback off what Samir said, I actually developed a chronic illness and I was actually able to reverse it based off just doing what I love. So I'm a very strong advocate for that.
You reversed it just based on doing something that you love.
Absolutely. And to piggyback off what Bonnie said, don't try to go too big right away. Just, don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to start over and just don't try to like hit the ground running too fast. You find like measurable things that you can do to kind of reach the goal that you want to reach. So to me, success is a journey, it's not a destination.
I love it. I love it, Wade. That's great tips. Where in your life journey did you learn this information?
I learned it by failure. I learned it by being courageous, and I learned it by being fearless. I'm not afraid to fail. I failed most of my life, so hey, I'm not afraid of it.
Yep. Yeah. Entrepreneur 70% failure. All right. Well, Wade, we're gonna move on and bring everyone else out. Let's start the round robin. We went through that way fast, but that's all right. So, audience, this is a great time for you to ask any questions for our guests here. Let's start off. Samir, can you quickly refresh what your tip was for us?
Invest in yourself. I think it's in line with what everyone is saying. Yeah.
Bonnie, what are your thoughts on Samir's tip?
Definitely, you have to invest in yourself, physical, emotional, um, mentally. You have to invest in yourself so you don't pour from an empty cup, and you can be the best you can be. Yeah, so you can help others be the best they can be.
I love it. Wade, what are your thoughts on Samir's tip?
I think it was awesome because a lot of times people focus on their career instead of focus on their health. And being a professional in the funeral business, you got to be alive to be successful. So you definitely want to take care of your health. And I can relate because I actually developed a chronic illness called spasmodic dysphonia, which it affected my voice. And I realized that once I cut the part out of
Sorry,
my
what was
life,
it called?
it was called spasmodic dysphonia. It's like a
Okay.
chronic illness that affects people's voice. Like say for instance, if I got really stressed, my voice would sound like an old man. Like I don't know if you're a Star Wars fan, but you would have thought like I was like Palpatine, like had an alter ego, like Darth Sidious or something. But when I cut the stress out of my life and I focused on what I enjoyed, my voice came back.
That's fascinating. How long was your voice gone?
It was gone for about 2 years. And like they
Wow.
thought it was like throat cancer at first, but I got it checked out and I did my research. And I went to like a voice therapist because they were trying to get me to do like Botox. And I'm like, no. So I talked to the voice therapist and she was like, you're a filmmaker, you're wrestling, maybe kind of change your life up a little bit. And when I did that, my voice never struggled again. So it works. I'm a
Well,
firm believer that it works.
your voice sounds beautiful right now.
It
Thank
does.
you.
Yeah.
That is fascinating. I mean, Samir does a lot with chronic. I don't know if you know this illness at all, Samir, but it is fascinating how the body takes your stress or your mental unhappiness or discomforts and makes them into a bodily harm. Samir, are you
Yeah,
familiar
and
at
I
all
think
with?
there's lessons here for entrepreneurship as well. Like if you're doing things, sometimes we do things because we think we have to. Our parents put pressure, someone put pressure, and if you're out of alignment, if you're doing things that don't resonate, the body is, the what's the name of the book? The body keeps the score. The body is going to act up in certain ways, and if you can find the alignment, then that may solve the issue in a lot of cases. There are many ways to heal. I start with physical. If you can start with mental or emotional, that's also going to be effective.
Yeah.
So.
Sorry, Wade, we just interrupted you and went on a giant tangent. Tell us more
Oh no.
about where your change came from and how that helped.
Well, my change actually came after I got married, and me and my wife decided that I would be an entrepreneur. So I quit working at the funeral home that I was at full time, And once I started like doing the aspects of the business that I enjoy, also focusing on my film career, my voice got better. And so I just been sticking with it ever since. So like I'm just in alignment with all of it. So it's like I don't think it's by happenstance that I'm meeting Bonnie and Samir today, because everything they said has pretty much been my life story right now.
Well, they're two awesome people. They've been on the show before. We love having them. So your entrepreneurship now is being a filmmaker, and you were at a funeral home. Is that correct?
Well, I
Or
do both. I actually
okay.
do both, but I'm kind of doing it more in the way that I like it. I think I think that's the thing. Like when you're an entrepreneur, you have it's every business has a bit of creativity in it, and it's like it's like this. Like if you take a lion in the cage and you expect him to act like a donkey, he's not gonna be a donkey because he's a lion. And so I think that all of us are creative no matter what business we're in. And so like if you lock your creativity in, sometimes it can cause you to have, stress. And a lot of times stress shows up in people differently. And so, like I said, once I cut the stress out, I realized that instead of focusing on what I thought I had to be doing, like Bonnie said, when I focus on what I know in my heart, what I'm supposed to do, everything just started lining up a whole lot better. Even though maybe I wasn't making money consistently like I was when I worked full time, but to me, to be honest with you, I've made a lot more, and my life has kind of been somewhat better because of that. Not because of the money, but because I'm just, doing things that I enjoy doing. So it makes a big difference.
We are talking about entrepreneurship and financial health, so this is not entirely off topic. But it would be kind of cool if at the funeral home you were able to do like maybe even like 10-minute short length films or 30-minute films of everyone's life.
Yeah, you
Like,
know what? You're like the fifth person that told me that, and I've actually been
oh,
working on that because what my goal is now. I have one documentary that I did on one of my teachers from mortuary college, and so I want to go around and get like the history on different funeral homes and their founders, because a lot of people may not know this, but there are a lot of funeral homes that have been around for like over 100 years. It's like the one business that has a lot of longevity if you do it right. And a lot of funeral home owners, it's a very interesting field because a lot of the people who started them, they were passionate about it. And a lot of times what ended up happening is that sometime when the next generation take over, maybe they're not as passionate about it. But I think it's so important for business owners to really care about what they do, because you want to care about what you're doing. You want to care about people. And I think when you do that, you perform a whole lot better.
that's awesome. Yeah, I think that would be a fun little package to add on. Here's your casket or urn or whatever, and if you want a little documentary, it's another $300, and we'll do a 10-minute video of your loved one. That'd be fascinating. All right, let's
Absolutely.
keep going, audience. Thank you for your comments, questions. They're definitely helpful as well. We got some time to fill, so Bonnie, tell us more about your piece of advice that you gave us.
Okay, Austin. My piece of advice was to know what know all your numbers, your outgoing and your incoming numbers. You have to have a specific goal for what you want to do, with your life business, and you have to spreadsheet, write everything out, and um, what are the things you know for your business or for your life to be able to do it properly. Like for business, you may need to have a website, you have to pay for that. You may need to have an email list, you need to pay for that. You may need to have a scheduler, you need to pay for that. All these kind of things you need. Try to get it all in one. Make sure you've got, your landing pages, all that kind of stuff. Sometimes it's a lot. And if you can have everything come all at once and even have the bills come in, maybe sometimes people want to say have all your bills come in on the same day so you know. Sometimes people want to spread the bills out. So you have to kind of figure out what's going to work best for you and your life and your business and just get it sorted. Now we're getting towards the end of the year, so everybody's going to start looking at their numbers for 2025, start getting their numbers set up for 2026. What are your long-term financial goals? Break that down into daily, weekly, monthly, and just decide what it is you need to have in your business. You may have to start off bare bones, but you can build as you go along. And sometimes I don't have a website, and I'm perfectly fine with not having one right now. I do have an email list, so I do pay for that, and I do have a couple other things that I have to pay for, but I keep all that in check, and I make sure I'm getting my ROI, return on investment, So
Yeah.
don't stress about it too much, but just figure out. It's like I don't have this, but I do need this, and then say, December 15th, January 2nd, whatever. This is when I'm going to need this, because like you have to have a scheduler to do your coaching calls, and some schedulers you can connect it with like your PayPal, so people will pay you. You can't get a call with me unless you pay for it, unless I've said something else otherwise. So that way that saves you time from going back and forth. Hey, do you want to do Monday or Tuesday? Time zones and stuff. Okay, here's a PayPal link, and here's a Zoom, all that kind of stuff. You want to have everything all in one spot, easy for everybody. So click this link, you pay, you have the call, and we'll do it, and all that kind of stuff. So know your numbers, know why you need stuff, and just you can it would sometimes with certain email lists. Um, Once you get to a certain point with subscribers, they'll charge you more. But also, you have to make sure on that with sending out emails. Always say, I always get a report that tells me how many people open my emails, so I know. And if I keep seeing the same people not opening my emails, I may have to unsubscribe them myself, because it's quality, not quantity. It's great to say you have 5,000 email subscribers, but if you send an email out and 10 people open it, you have to have the email subscribers who are your total best clients. Now, sometimes you just have to kind of just get people on the list to get used to sending stuff out. But other times, at a certain point, you need to have your email list. Some of your friends, some of your whatever group members, have them be your good client. So I can send out an email about something, whatever, and hopefully, possibly, make money for it in the end.
I love it. Wade, what are your thoughts on Bonnie's tip?
I love it. Everything she says, it sounds like my wife preaching to me, to be honest with you. But she is totally right, because you definitely want to have a definite aim, because when you are in business, you have to be intentional, and you have to be willing to pay attention to numbers, because again, you are in business to make money. And so you have to make sure that you're not spending out, more than you're making. Everything has to be accounted for. So to me, she's she's 100% on what she's saying, because I've been there before, and I've learned from my mistakes, because when I first started, like some of this stuff I'm just like, but then my wife is like, no, you got to be intentional. And so like I said, so what Bonnie is saying is actually 100% true, because you have to make sure that you are growing. And sometimes just because you have a big clientele, you can have a big clientele, but you're still spending more than you're making. And so sometimes you may have to decrease the increase at times. So she's 100% right about what she said.
Samir, what are your thoughts on Bonnie's tip?
Yeah, it's a good reminder. I'm actually redoing my vision, mission, goals, and yeah, doing some numbers and so on. So yeah, very timely reminder in my particular case. Not my strength. I mean, this is like, I'm gonna be completely honest. For the first couple of years, I didn't know how much I was spending, and I didn't know how much was coming in, and I didn't know nothing. So and now, in the past year or so, I've gotten my act in order when it comes to those sort of things. But yeah, it's a good reminder, and I think setting goals that are ambitious but realistic would also be sort of a little caveat there. Like, if you want to increase your income or your revenue by 1,000%, for example, that's not going to happen overnight. That's not a week long goal. That may not be a month long goal, right? It may be maybe a year or even longer than that, right? So I think we entrepreneurs tend to be like big picture and big vision, and we're going to like build these crazy things and so on, and that's great. But having a foot in reality is what's going to actually make it work. Otherwise, it's all just a house of cards.
All right, guys, we got a question from the audience. Let's see. Oh, this is strictly for you, Bonnie. How are you doing now, Bonnie? I remember the struggles and shared with you when you first came on the show. It's great to see you back. Tell us more about your entrepreneurship journey since that moment, Bonnie.
Okay, also you and I have known each other for a while. You've seen my struggles. A lot of people know I've been homeless in the past. Just earlier this year, I was homeless, and now I have a place to stay. In addition to doing my
Nice.
life enhancement coaching, I am also the volunteer ambassador for a hostel that's located in a hotel, and we have numerous locations throughout the United States. When I talked to you last time, Austin, I was right on Myrtle Beach. I spent the whole summer on Myrtle Beach doing a hostel there. Now I am in Central Florida, and we have a location down in South Florida. I was there. So I get to move around. I get to meet people from all over the world. It is a volunteer position, so I don't get paid. However, I do. I get the bed for free in exchange for doing different things. And every day is something different. Sometimes it's something as little as somebody locked their key in their room and I have to go let them in their room. So sometimes people are like, I want to switch rooms, or sometimes it's somebody had a dog in their room one time. And it's like accommodation, you really can't do that. People want to check in at 8 o'clock in the morning when check-in is at 3. So it's sometimes it's a lot of crazy stuff, but I get to meet people from everywhere, and I get to learn a lot of different customs. And I'm doing better with that. I have time to be on podcasts and summits and write ebooks for Lulu. So I'm just working on my tech skills to be able to get everything all set up perfectly and do my long-term goals for my business, and crunch my numbers. So, and also a bit of personal news. My nephew and his wife had a little baby boy a few days before my birthday this year in August. So I have a brand new baby nephew who's about 2.5 months old. So I'm very excited for that. Hopefully I will be able to meet him and see my whole family like January, February. Right now it's crazy, but thank you for asking. And I am doing better now, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, all the maestro stuff.
I love it. Awesome. Oh, wow.
And
Great little update for viewers. All right, guys. Well, we are at the point in our show where, actually, real quick, let's go over. Wait, remind us what your tip was.
So my tip is actually simply to be fearless, and I would say make connections, because if you're afraid, fear can keep people from like doing a whole lot of things. And if you're gonna be an entrepreneur, you got to be bold. You have to trust your instincts. Like as a child, I read a lot of books about Walt Disney, and I read about how he followed his dream and stuff like that, and how like Disney was more of a creative, but his brother Roy was more of the businessman. So to me,
Right.
you can't be afraid to be creative and make connections, because to me, I have found a lot of success just by talking to people. Like I'm not afraid to talk to people. Like I never met a stranger. And when you talk to people, you never know who you're talking to. So like to me, it's so many beautiful people out here in the world that could be a help to you, and you can be a help to them. Just can't be afraid of rejection. So being fearless is my number one thing, and making connections.
Samir, what are your thoughts on his tip?
Sorry, I was muted. No, I think it's a beautiful tip, man. Yeah, you're not really going to go very far if you're not fearless. You're not really going to be able to be an entrepreneur, because, as you said in your own story, Wade, like we're failing all the time, man. Like it's not like the first time you try and do it, you're going to be a success. None of us, maybe not all of us, have the incredible stories that Bonnie has, but all of us know what it is to fail. I remember my first program launch a couple of years ago. I was making this whole big, webinar and online. It was during COVID times, so I didn't want to do anything in person. Everyone come online, and I showed up, and it was two people, and one of them was my mom, and the other one was my brother, I think. So, like we all have those stories, right? And you can't let it stop you. You just got to go and do the next thing. So unless you have that fearlessness, it's you're not really. Maybe you're not. Maybe you don't want to be an entrepreneur. Like, and that's fine. Not everyone's going to be one. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're someone, and as a coach, you see different personality types. If you're someone who's more dominated by fear and a need for safety, again, like maybe you're not the person who should be in charge of the business. Maybe you can have a different role. Maybe you can be a CFO or a compliance officer or something like that. But the CEO, the sort of founder, needs to have that fearlessness. Otherwise, you're not going to go anywhere.
Absolutely.
I love that. I'll hit that comment in a second. Let's go ahead and do our daily challenge here. We need to come up with something to do every day that helps us improve our financial health regarding entrepreneurship. It takes less than 5 minutes a day, costs $0, and is available to anyone in the world. What thoughts do you guys have?
Can I propose something?
That's what I'm asking, Samir.
Okay, cool. So 5 minutes a day, you're going to journal. You're going to take out your journal, and you're going to ask yourself what, because there's two ways to see investment. One is investment in money, which some of us have and some of us don't. And one is an investment with time, and we all have time. So I'm going to ask you in your 5 minutes, with your time that you're going to have tomorrow, what's one investment that you're going to make that's going to advance either yourself or your business? And it can be the same thing every day. Like if you say for the next week, I'm going to be investing in whatever it is. I mean, I did a long project of learning how to make Facebook ads. was investing my time in learning how to make Facebook ads, for example. That's just a stupid example. Whatever it is, it could be other skills. It could be the kind of skills that Wade suggested. It could be the kind of accountability stuff that Bonnie suggested. But 5 minutes every day at the end of the day to decide what you're going to do the next day.
Any other ideas?
I would say for me, you go ahead, Bonnie.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Wade. I appreciate that. As to what Samir was saying about journaling, I do journal a lot about things, and one of my things I do first thing in the morning when I get up and get going is I go online to all my accounts, my PayPal, my bank account, all that stuff, and I write down my numbers. How much money is in my PayPal today? How much money is in my bank account? How much is in my American Express? And I check that every day, and I know exactly what money's coming in and going out. So I know, just to make sure I have enough money for what I need. So if you check every single day, it takes like 5 minutes. Write it down and see if you're having a getting low on something or getting more on something. Just know your numbers every day, and like Samir said, journal about it, and just do what you got to do and go for it, Wade. I know you got some good tips for us, bro. You got some good tips coming.
Yep. So for me, I'm definitely a journaler myself. For me, I actually listen to a lot of podcasts. Like I may not watch it, but I listen to different people's success stories. I listen to their triumphs, their failures. That's because to me, it's like motivation, like knowing that other people were down. Because a lot of times with success, right, we see a lot of people kind of like at their peak, at their height. But when you listen to like a lot of the people that we know, even in the media, right, like everybody has had failures, and a lot of times there have been more failures than success. And so to me, I think just listening to other people's stories is kind of like motivation. Also, another thing that I do, I decide to meet new people. Like I may take like 20 minutes a day just to see something I like on Facebook or see somebody that's doing something great. And I just take time out to say, you know what? I like what you're doing. What got you into this? Because again, building relationships with people will take you a lot further than people would imagine.
All right, so I'm gonna take everything you said and kind of put my own twist on it. So we all said journaling. Take 5 minutes to journal. So here's what I like to do every day whenever I don't forget. Uh, I write down 3 things that you're grateful for, or 5 things, or whatever you want, and then I write down the day before how I improved in all 6 aspects of health. So, did I do something physical? Did I do something to help my mental health? Did I go talk to someone and improve my social health? And then we also have a Facebook group called brick.by.brick, brick by brick. So, if you so are inclined, you can join that group and post it there. But I think journaling, and we will make the journaling be a purpose on how you can do it on how you plan to grow or how you did grow in all 6 aspects of health. Does that sound like a nice summary of what you all said?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the group just got posted there. So y'all can check that out and join us if you would so desire. And that will be our daily challenges, writing them down. Because with entrepreneurship, like Samir really emphasized, it is all about you and your personal growth. If you're not growing and you're sitting around doing nothing, your business is most likely not going to grow either. All right. Well, thank you all so much. I'm going to put you all backstage and wrap up the show. And yeah, thank you, Bonnie, Samir, Wade. Great tips out there. Great knowledge. Thank you all for watching. Millionaires of May. This episode is financial health and entrepreneurship. I guess if you want to be an entrepreneur or you're trying with your side hustle or something like that, I would say my biggest tip, the only real reason people get into entrepreneurship is cash flow, is making money. So you got to have sales. Sales and marketing is the first thing, but if you're thinking about spending money on a new business or enhancing your side hustle, you have to be able to sell whatever you're selling. If it's consulting or it's trees or whatever it is, sell it. All the accounting doesn't matter. All the processes doesn't matter. All the employees don't matter. Nothing matters if you cannot sell and put money into the business. If you're sitting around waiting hours, trying to think of the right name, trying to think of who to hire, nothing in the business is going to matter if there are no sales. That's the entire point of an entrepreneurship, of a business. Your profit margins, your expenses, all those can be dealt with later. If you cannot sell, you won't be going into business. Last little shout out. We have a couple more sponsors. So these are just our shout out sponsors. We got Zaka, that Zaka Life Hydration Shoes, Instafarm Home Gardens, and Karmaceuticals. Thank you all so much for your sponsorship. And I got nothing else. I hope you all learned something about financial entrepreneurship. Our daily challenge is to post how we grow every day in all 6 aspects of health. Little journaling. You can journal as long as you want, but we got 5 minutes as our typical daily challenge, and throw some gratitude in there. You can make your journal public at our Facebook group, Break